Security challenge in focus as Hunters Council of Nigeria seek collaboration with the Nigerian police force. Tactical and conventional police positioned at University of Abuja as gunmen attack University of Abuja staff quarters. A very good evening. Thanks for joining us on Nta Channel 5 News at 7. I am Miriam Emekamadi. The 2021 United Nations Climate Change Conference, also known as COP26, is underway in Glasgow, Scotland, United Kingdom. The COP26 summit brought parties together to accelerate actions towards the goals of the Paris Agreement and the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. President Muhammadu Buhari addressed the Leaders' Summit expressing Nigeria's commitment to net zero carbon emissions by 2060. The president also demanded for a just transition that allows countries to use gas as energy
Nigeria
until 2040.
is actually more of a gas than an oil-producing country. Consequently, I am requesting for financing of projects using transition fuels such as gas. Nigeria has developed a detailed energy transition plan and roadmap based on data and evidence. This plan has highlighted some key facts that faces the difficult conversations.
And on security issues, the FCT Commissioner of Police, Babaji Sande, says additional tactical and conventional policing resources have been positioned at the University of Abuja main and satellite campuses, as well as the staff quarters and other affiliate formations of the university to fortify security following this morning attack by gunmen on the staff quarters at Giri. Rosemary Motalangbila reports.
This is the crime scene and housing of one of the kidnapped victims at early hours of Tuesday. Families of these victims are hopeful that they will soon be rejoined with their loved ones.
The serene and academic environment of the staff quarters of University of Abuja at Giri, few kilometers from Gwagwalada, was disrupted early Tuesday morning by uninvited visitors who shot sporadically, shattering window glasses and breaking doors in an attack that lasted about an hour, according to accounts by residents.
They were able to gain access into our house. They broke the window and came in.
Please, whatever you can do to be able to track them down, for my husband to come back alive and the others they kidnapped alongside with him.
The FCT Police Command moved promptly to fortify security in and around the University of Abuja. Personnel of the Nigerian Army 176 Guards Battalion were also mobilized to the area to protect the citizens.
Right from 12:45, we've been on ground. When we received the distress call of sporadic shooting in the university quarters here.
This is one of the most devastating incidences, and it's very sad that this great university is being attacked this way.
We tried our best that night, but unfortunately before their arrival, they were already away in the bush. I am sure something positive will come out from this investigation.
Security agents are calling for calm, assuring that the perpetrators will be arrested and brought to book. As at the time of our visit to the scene, the atmosphere was calm, while residents at the staff quarters gathered in groups discussing the overnight attack by marauders.
Meanwhile, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mohammed Musa Bello, has urged security agencies to ensure that the 6 people abducted from the University of Abuja staff quarters in Giri Gwagwalada Area Council are rescued from their abductors. In a statement by the Chief Press Secretary, Anthony Ogunleye, the minister disclosed that the combined security team is currently on the trail of the hoodlums, while concerted efforts are being put in place to protect all institutions of learning in the FCT. He assures members of the university community the government will do all that is necessary to ensure safe return of all the abductees. The multifaceted security challenges in the country have called for new approach and involvement of all citizens. This is why the Hunters Council of Nigeria is seeking collaboration with the Nigerian police force to bridge the gap through community policing that will address the challenges. Tessio Mary has the details.
It is no longer news that members of some communities live in constant fear of kidnappers and bandits. That is why the collaboration between the Nigerian police and other security agencies, as well as Hunters Council, is coming at a critical time, and the need to comb forests in the country is paramount in curtailing kidnapping and banditry.
Policing, program is centered on community policing, and as you can see, they are drawn from various communities across the country. And what we do, particularly here in Gwagwalada, we collaborate with all sister agencies and also agencies, peripheral agencies like Hunters, Vigilante, in combating crime.
The association, with membership in the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, are more than ready to support the federal government in nibbing the crime in the bud.
Men and officers, we know the terrain in the forests and bushes, and this is maybe the areas where the security agencies are lacking, and we have that fact, and this is a fact. So we need to collaborate and then work.
The DFCT minister has made appropriate budgetary provision for erecting perimeter fencing around schools across the territory in the 2022 budget under the preparation is no news. The polls of residents, however, indicate positive reception on the move as a critical security measure to further safeguard schools in the nation's capital. Asabetanimo Williams reports.
It was one of the resolutions of the monthly FCT security meetings chaired by the Minister of the FCT to secure learning environment in furtherance to the Safe School initiative, which will strengthen the security architecture around schools.
It's not Uhuru yet, but he has an eye for significant projects that may have been ignored in the past, and he goes after them to execute them.
What do Nigerians think about this development?
The issue of security in our schools is the responsibility of everybody. But while everybody is responsible for the security provision in our various schools, government will have to take up that responsibility fully to come up with certain policies and initiatives that they will be able to mobilize people to have the support of everybody, so that everybody will key in the provision of security in our schools.
In the long run, it is hoped that this will also safeguard schools against the activities of scavengers who vandalize some infrastructure.
This is Goza Primary School, without any perimeter fence or barricade protecting knowledge seekers and tutors. More worrisome is the reality of the school's proximity to the highway, which makes it vulnerable, a situation which requires urgent attention. In Abuja, Asabetanimo Williams, NTA News.
Between the year 2006 and 2020, more than 1,200 journalists were killed around the world, with 9 out of 10 of these cases remaining judicially unresolved, according to UNESCO Observatory data. It is for this singular reason that the United Nations, in its quest to preserve the sanctity of the critical role journalists play in reporting facts to citizens, designated November 2 annually to end impunity for crimes against journalists. Ilyasu Onoti Yakubu tells us more.
Impunity for crimes and attacks against journalists has damaging impacts on the society as it limits public awareness and constructive debate on public facts.
Journalists face countless other threats, from kidnapping and torture to detention and harassment. The COVID-19 pandemic and the shadow pandemic of misinformation have demonstrated that access to information can be a matter of life and death. Threatening that access by targeting journalists sends a disturbing message that undermines democracy and the rule of law.
In Nigeria, violent crime against members of the pen profession is one case too many, with the most recent being the sudden and yet to be traced disappearance of Theodore Henry Salem, a correspondent with the Vanguard newspaper. Social commentators and professionals have over time beckoned on government to, as a matter of national safety, protect the sanctity of the fourth estate of the realm.
Quite unfortunate that we journalists, we have to just be the endangered species as we are described anyway. So we always find a very difficult terrain and getting to the level that journalists now get missing.
On security tips for practitioners when in line of duty, Deputy Commissioner of Police Bennett Igwe advised journalists to always cultivate the habit of red flagging security agencies for ease of emergency response, especially while undertaking investigative reports.
Inform us that, see where I'm going. In case of anything, I call you by this. Come quickly for my rescue. And we have been doing that. At least this is the third time I have done it with a journalist.
Observers say freedom and security of the press is the cornerstone of every just and free society, hence the need to mitigate the unjust and incessant impunity for crimes against journalists through dialogue and prosecution. Ilyasu Onotu Yakubu, NTA News.
And now sports. The Nigerian Basketball Federation coach and the FCT, Emmanuel Oda, drawn support for Igoche Mark to represent North Central Zone in the NBBF board. Let's join Favor Aminu for more on Sports Brief.
Ahead of the suspended 2021 NBBF elections, support has continued to come the way of one of the aspirants, Igoche Mark. As the head of the basketball in the FCT, Emmanuel Oda has said the proprietor of Mark Mentors is the right man to represent North Central Zone on the new NBBF board. Elsewhere, Union Berlin striker Taiwo Awoniyi says he has no regards joining Liverpool, despite failing to play a single competitive game for the Merseyside Giants during the 6-year stint at the club. Meanwhile, first-half goals from Max Kilman and Raul Jimenez helped Wolves to a 2-1 win over Everton. Alex Iwobi did pull one back from the away side, but Wolves' superiority in the opening 45 minutes pulled the difference as Bruno Lage's men moved up to a 7th in the Premier League table with a 4th win in 5 games. With Sports Brief, Favor Aminu, NTA News.
And just before we go, do remember that COVID-19 vaccine is free. Get vaccinated to stay safe. And that's the news in English. Translation is next. Stay with us.
Wize kwa woi wona na iwo abadazaza ishanda yezuma onewa gobagai yeji no agnilo aji no apabuitni tu deshan ainpanabo onkone jin abwa shibache tneyin yeji ekwen akintukoda nla kunu akin aje gbogbogbo ba yeji na baibashi abaye ntukotunu abieyi yinzeyabo onkwen antu no abieyi deshan ainpanabo eitintukoda Muhammadu Buhari nku bada no akintukoda ajei we ngaba nge ai tinye ko bache na mona danelo na bai kwa ga bwache nsapa ye kwen no eye shi ta che tnai nko belen ai tiko da uda zanyi ban wai godiya wai ga afa akin mba ga bai ba jin apma nya no na yuko na pa bui pe gas na bai to ashe amada na ba no eye awoche chwa mai nko belen na bede yin gnabe busi bi daya no akin zinna babaje Sunday wa ga baba ku yomo be natun jiya no azagu sapa no aye pezan ba adnagman mba ginlo nanu akin zinde aba no anyawi nwaje aye pezan abia no ajibai mba no wole vivi no aye pezan baye mba Rosemary Motlan Bilan wona le sheba we be na bedai wa ga ba dade no ansai no azanu koye lo sa abaye mba nlabmi njiri bai she akpuru bai la ashipa ya bedenu anya ajei ba te zanyibon ba azaku bai kulo nchei nwowe lenu abusibida bedo no abada kaudai ba busibe agenge ba jinle sai nje gmagude na bai gwaza shi nyaji la onya shado ozawo nyanyen wa onya puta de la antukotu nsapa azagunya bo mbani gilo ba yije mbwe nanu eikin yen akugnzaza hei wala owozanzan shado tesi omeri wa genge chenajin gbedogun afazanzan ba genge ba yelo ba dnabwado no abusibi dai nsapa azagunya no ajigba sapa na bage gbaiza dabage azagwamba ta lo kuchi bazun busu kankan ye pen ba chelen agan abagaba mutu abo baba wolelanu saisu
Jama'a masu kallo da sauraron mu assalamu alaikum barkanmu da maraicen yau ga takaitattun fasarar wasu daga cikin labaran yau mai karantawa Yusuf Yakub. An fara taron karawa juna ilimi na Majalisar Ɗinkin Duniya na 2021 akan sauyin yanayi a birnin Glasgow na ƙasar Scotland da ke Birtaniya a jiya Litinin, wanda shugabannin ƙasashen duniya suka yi tururuwar halartar taron. Taron da shugaban Najeriya Muhammadu Buhari ya sami halarta ya yi bayani mai gamsarwa akan ƙoƙarin da ƙasar nan ke yi na cimma nasarar samun daƙile gubar hayaƙi mai gurɓata yanayi da cutar da lafiyar al'umma a shekara ta 2060. Kwamishinan 'yan sandan Abuja Babaji Sunday ya ce sun ɗauki ƙwararren matakan tabbatar da ingantaccen tsaro a farfajiyar jami'ar Abuja da gidajen malamanta da sauran makarantun da suke da alaƙar aiki da ita. Ɗaukar wannan mataki ya biyo bayan harin da wasu 'yan bindiga suka kai rukunin gidajen malaman makarantar da ke Giri a safiyar yau Talata. Wakiliyarmu Rosemary Motlin Bilal ta labarta mana cewa bayan kai harin tuni jami'an tsaron 'yan sanda da soji da sauran masu kayan sarki suka bazama farautar maharan, inda suka buƙaci al'umma da su kwantar da hankalinsu cewa za su kamo maharan su miƙa su ga kuliya Manta Sabo domin su fuskanci hukuncin da ya dace da su. Dangogin ƙalubalen tsaro da ƙasar nan ke ci gaba da fuskanta na buƙatar sake sabon lale da ba da gudunmuwar ɗaukacin al'ummar ƙasa kafin a samu nasarar magance su. Domin cimma burin haka, ƙungiyar 'yan farauta ta ƙasa ta buƙaci haɗin gwiwar aiki da 'yan sanda. Wakiliyarmu Tesi Omeri ta kawo mana rahoto cewa halin da ake ciki yanzu babu shakka akwai buƙatar haɗa ƙarfi da ƙarfe tsakanin hukumomin tsaro da 'yan ƙasa domin kawo ƙarshen matsalolin tsaron da ke neman ɗaiɗaita ƙasar nan. Ƙungiyar mafarauta ta ƙasa na da 'ya'ya a jihohin ƙasar nan 36, wanda ta buƙaci a ba ta dama domin samarwa da ƙasar tsaron da take buƙata. To iyakacin abin da ya samu kenan a yau, sai kuma gobe idan rai ya kai. Allah tashe mu lafiya.
Ekele m gị Igbo mụrụ m, oge erukwala ọzọ maka akụkọ ụwa nke taa. Ọka akụkọ ka bụkwa m Rachel Ifi Onu. Tọọ ntị n'ala nara anyị akụkọ anyị jiri bịa n'uhuruchi a. Nzukọ maka mgbanwe ihu igwe nke afọ 2021 adịla njikere ịmalite na mba Glasgow, Scotland nakwa mba United States. Ọ kwere nghọta na nke a bụ nke ga-eme ka otu dị iche iche bịakọta ọnụ ma bute ọganihu. Onyeisi ala anyị Muhammadu Buhari jikwazi ya bụ ohere mee ka ndị isi na ya bụ nzukọ mata mbọ ala anyị bụ Naịjirịa na-agba banyere nke a. Onyeisi ndị uwe ojii n'isi ala anyị Babaji Sunday ekwupụtala mbọ ha na-agba ịhụ na a napụtara ndị obibi mahadum isi ala anyị dịka ndị omekome wakpọrọ ha n'ụtụtụ taa n'ebe obibi ha. Rosemary Motilem-Bilal wetara akụkọ na nke a mere n'ụzọ ụtụtụ taa, ebe ndị uwe ojii na ndị agha ala anyị jupụtara na ya bụ ogige. Ha jikwazi ya bụ ohere kwuo na ha ga-ejide ndị niile aka ha dị na ya bụ mpụ. Ya bụ onye ọrụ anyị mekwara ka anyị mata na mgbe ha garuru na ya bụ ogige na ebe niile dara jụụ, ebe ndị agbata obi jupụtara ma na-akọ nke ha hụrụ na nke ha nụrụ. Ihe ịma aka a na-ewe n'ala anyị abụrụla ihe ekwesịrị iwepụtara usoro ọhụrụ ma mee ka onye ọbụla sonye na nchekwa ala anyị. Tesi Omeri wetara akụkọ na nke a kpaliri mmasị otu jikọrọ ndị dinta ala anyị ịrịọ maka njikọ aka ọnụ ndị uwe ojii iji nyere gọọmenti ala anyị aka zachapụ ndị omekome dịka ahịhịa. Ọ kwere nghọta na enyere ha ọzụzụ na usoro ha ga-agbaso iji rụọ ọrụ ha n'agbanyeghị na ha nwere ọzụzụ na mbụ. Onye ọma na-ege ntị, ebe a ka anyị pịachiri ya wa akụkọ nke taa. Ka chi fo.
Ẹ̀kálẹ́ o, ìròyìn ló ń dé sí etí gbóyin láti iléeṣẹ́ amóhùnmáwòrán ìkànnì karùn-ún l'Àbújá. Ọláyínká Adéníyì ni oníròyìn yín. Ní báyìí, ìpàdé pọ̀ gbogbo orílẹ̀-èdè ìyẹn United Nations fún ọdún 2021 tí a mọ̀ sí COP26 ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní Glasgow lórílẹ̀-èdè Scotland báyìí fún ìlọsíwájú àti àjùmọ̀ṣepọ̀ tó mọ́yán lórí láàárín àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè. Ní ìpàdé pọ̀ yìí dá lé lórí èròǹgbà àti àṣẹ tí wọ́n gùn lé ní orílẹ̀-èdè Paris àti àlàálẹ̀ United Nations látàrí àyípadà ìgbà ní ó ṣokùnfà ìpàdé pọ̀ yìí. Ààrẹ Muhammadu Buhari ṣàlàyé fún àwọn aṣáájú tó wà níbi ìpàdé ọ̀hún lórí bó ṣe jẹ́ wípé orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ṣe máa wà ní ìbámu láìsí làásìgbò tó bá fi máa di ọdún 2060. Ààrẹ Buhari tún gùn lé ìpilẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tó péye fún àwọn orílẹ̀-èdè tí ó rí gẹ́gẹ́ bí afẹ́ ní ìgbà tí ó fi di ọdún 2040 láì yà kúrò nínú àṣẹ orílẹ̀-èdè Paris. Kọmíṣánná ọlọ́pàá fún ìlú Àbújá Babaji Sunday ṣàlàyé pé àfikún àwọn agbèfọ́ba lọ́lọ́kan-ò-jọ̀kan ni àwọn ti fi kalẹ̀ sínú ọgbà yunifásitì ìlú Àbújá àti ibùgbé àwọn olùkọ́ àti òṣìṣẹ́ ilé ẹ̀kọ́ gíga ọ̀hún kí ètò ààbò tó péye ó lè kẹ́sẹ̀ járe. Aṣojúkọ̀ròyìn wa Rosemary Motilem-Bilal jábọ̀ wípé ọ̀gá àgbà ọlọ́pàá náà gbé ìgbésẹ̀ yìí látàrí ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ láabi tó ṣẹlẹ̀ níbẹ̀ lówùúrọ̀ yìí, èyí tí àwọn jàǹdùkú ènìyàn kàn ṣàdédé kọjú ìbọn sí àwọn ibùgbé yìí tí wọ́n sì da bájínátù bolẹ̀ tí wọ́n sì gbé àwọn èèyàn lọ.
pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn àwọn sójà àti àwọn elétò ààbò mìíràn ni wọ́n ṣe tètè dẹ́kun lásìgbò yìí bó ti wọ́n kórí. àìtó ètò ààbò lórílẹ̀‐èdè yìí ti mú kí àwọn ènìyàn wá ọ̀nà àbáyọ kí àlàáfíà ò lè jọba ṣebí igi gangan má gúnmi lójú òkèrè láti máa ń ló fi mú kí àwọn ẹgbẹ́ ọmọdé lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà béèrè fún àjùmọ̀ṣepọ̀ tó mọ́yán lórí pẹ̀lú àwọn ọlọ́pàá kí wọ́n lè dí àlàfo àti ìbẹ̀rùbojo àwọn aráàlú ní èyí tí yóò mú ìfọ̀kànbalẹ̀ àti àlàáfíà kó jọba láìsí àní-àní gẹ́gẹ́ bí Tẹ́sí Òmìrì aṣojúkọ̀rọ̀ wa tó ṣe ṣàlàyé torí àwọn kò ní ju báyìí lọ káwà láyé wa gbogbo aká máa ríre ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan láòjì o ká sùn láyọ̀.